Still Loading podcast is brought to you by the wonderful people on Patreon. Amazing people like Mike from the Old Switcheroo podcast, Matt aka Stormageddon, Ryan K, Melissa S, Pib Extra, Parallax Puddles, Doug from the Nostalgia Marcanon podcast, Gilmer, Kevin from the Bit by Bit Foundation, Stephen P, and Mr. Biscuits have all been wonderful enough to support the show over there. So if you would also like to get your name read at the beginning of an episode, along with a bunch of other goodies, go over to patreon.com/stillloadingpod and check out everything it has to offer. On this episode of Still Loading, Christmas really does come twice.
'Cause she's a clone!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new episode of the Still Loading podcast. I'm your host, Josh Koval, and today's episode, it is the kickoff of Road to First Light. It is my series chronicling a handful of James Bond games and one Hitman game in celebration of the upcoming new Bond game from IO Interactive, which is James Bond 007 First Light, whatever the title is, but First Light is the name of it, which is where the series, of course, gets its name. And some of you may be asking, why is it 3 Bond games and 1 Hitman game? Well, IO Interactive, the developer of the new game, developed also the entire Hitman series, so the only developer who's worked on the Hitman series. So we are going to be covering today we're covering 007 Agent Under Fire. Next week will be Nightfire. The week after that will be Everything or Nothing, and we're wrapping up the Road to First Light series with Hitman 2016, an episode on the 2016 Hitman game. But to kick off the series in earnest with this episode, I'm joined by 2 wonderful returning guests. First up, returning from the Golden Sun episode from Backlog Month last year, Chris from Consoles and Stuff. Chris, how are you doing today?
Doing good, man. Glad to be back and talking a game that I have more, more feelings that I understand about than I did with Golden Sun.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. And that sultry voice you hear as well, another returning guest. It's been a minute since he's been on the show. I don't quite remember the last episode you were on, but we got my good old buddy Luigi's apartment here. Luigi, how are you doing today?
Hi, it's me, Luigi's apartment. And it's me, evil clone Luigi's apartment. I'll take it from here, Luigi's evil clone Luigi.
No, it's funny, Luigi. I feel really stupid, but it took me until literally last week to realize your name is a pun off of Luigi's Mansion.
Yes.
And I feel really fucking stupid. I like it. It should have been very obvious. And for some reason in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Luigi's apartment. That's just creative. This guy's a genius over here.
It's a place. It exists.
Yeah. I want to see Luigi's apartment.
It has lore. It's gotten cleaner over the years, but it used to be like just absolutely disgusting with like toads, rutting in the corner, and it was a real problem. But yeah, things have gotten better over the years. It's still an apartment though. I still live in an apartment.
You know what though? No shame in that. Everyone's Luigi's got to have his bachelor pad or whatever pad Luigi lives in.
Right.
But yes, welcome, friend. Happy to have you back on the show. Happy to have both of you back on the show. We are here to talk 007 Agent Under Fire, the first James Bond game on the PlayStation 2. Before we get into personal anecdotes and everything and, personal experiences, just some real quick fun facts that I have right off the top. This game was originally going to be this game was originally going to be a version of The World Is Not Enough, hence the Christmas joke at the top of the episode. It was going to be a PS2 version of The World Is Not Enough before they switched gears and decided to make a completely original game. And while this is not a James Bond game, the first James Bond game with an original story, a story not based off any of the movies, I will say it is the first one that kind of nailed that aesthetic. And we'll go into all that in just a moment.
Now, what was the first one? I cannot for the life of me remember what
technically,
it's called.
There was an unlicensed James Bond game for the ZX Spectrum called Shaken Not Stirred.
Okay, never mind. That doesn't count, right?
And it is the very first James Bond game, at least as of now, ever known to be released.
Okay, no shade on the ZX Spectrum, like honestly, but like when I keep hearing people say this isn't the first original James Bond video game, that's what they're referring to.
Yeah, that's the closest that's the farthest back that I have found.
Okay.
There is also technically a James Bond tabletop RPG that came out before then, but that's not a video game. So
that's cool. I would do that. That's
dude.
Cool.
I have it.
What about the original Game Boy James Bond game? Was that based on a movie, or was that?
That's a good question. That came out in 1998, and it was not based on a movie. But there's a game before that. There was James Bond 007: The Duel for the Sega Mega Drive / Genesis, which actually Luigi features the likeness of your favorite Bond, Timothy Dalton.
Yo.
And then there was also. I personally consider so here's the thing. If you're going by original titles, like original stories, technically the very first James Bond game, Shaken Not Stirred, is that. But it was unlicensed. If you're going by licensed, it's complicated. 007 The Duel, I would consider it because it was developed to be a James Bond game. There is a game though called 007 James Bond The Stealth Affair, but that wasn't technically a James Bond game. It was actually a game called Operation Stealth, and it was only given the James Bond license in North America, in the United States.
Okay.
So
it was could just been a reskin Golgo 13 game.
Kind of. Yeah, it's its own thing that they reskinned as James Bond.
Right.
Yeah, so technically the first licensed one with the intention to be an original game with an original story, I should say, was James Bond 007 The Duel, from what I can see at least. There's other
ones
that
Game Boy game, made after GoldenEye came out, or
yes. Came out in 98 and GoldenEye was 97.
I mean, it's a Game Boy game, or a Game Boy Color game, you say. So who knows how long that dev cycle was? So maybe they were working on it before GoldenEye blew up, but that's
that
how
game's
I read it.
Low key. I've only played a bit of it, but it's like a Zelda clone.
Huh. Yeah, it is.
It's really good. It's surprisingly good.
On my list now. That's all you have to say, really.
Yeah. And another quick fun fact, actually, that is kind of right up your alley, Luigi. This game, back when it came out, and I disagree with this, but it was runner-up for GameSpot's most disappointing game of the year in 2001. And it lost to your evil twin, Luigi's Mansion.
Oh, that's
which
sad.
I also disagree with. That game fucking rules.
GameSpot? GameSpot said that?
GameSpot said Luigi's Mansion was the most disappointing game in 2001.
I actually
that is surprising. That is so weird.
Yeah. I must not have heard that because I love and supported GameSpot back in the day. So,
and Luigi's Mansion is I listen. I understand it's kind of has the Wind Waker effect a little bit, where it's like people were expecting one thing and got something completely different. So even though both Luigi's Mansion and Wind Waker are fantastic games, because people wanted the gritty Zelda, Wind Waker got the raw end of the stick, or raw end of the deal. And since people wanted a Mario game like every other Nintendo console had launched with, and they got a Luigi game, they're like, wah.
Whatever. Luigi's Mansion 1 is still my favorite Luigi's Mansion. So
it's a good game, man.
It's the best one. It's the best one.
And just go back to that controls.
And 3 is, no.
Yeah, I like 3. 3 is fun, but it is not.
It doesn't have the same personality as Luigi's Mansion 1.
Yeah.
I have yet to play 2 or 3. I need to get around to both of those at some point. I did play 1, and I really enjoyed the hell out of it.
1's great. I didn't get all the way through 2.
When you play 2, remember that it was released on the 3DS,
Yeah.
and the
And then
developers
move on.
were like, "Oh, this is for people who are going to play it on the bus or on the train on their way to work." And
Yeah, just move on to 3. 3 is
Good to
good.
know.
Play all of 3. 3 is really great. I love it a
3
lot,
is
but
good. It doesn't have the same personality as 1, but it's pretty good.
I think yeah, my big let's get off of this. This is all about Luigi's Mansion. We don't need to
It's
talk
all
about
good.
this.
The last bit of fun facts that I'll share at the top of the episode. I only have a few more to share, like as our episode goes on. But the game came out originally on November 13th, 2001 in North America. It was published for the PS2, I should say. It came out on the.
You should say.
Yes, I should, because on the GameCube it came out on March 12th, 2002 in North America, and the original Xbox on March 26th, 2002 in North America. The European dates were a little bit were a little bit later. Excuse me. Sorry, what?
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say mostly because on November 13th, 2001, there was no Xbox or GameCube to be released for.
Yes, that is very true. That is very true. And the game was developed on the Quake 3 engine, id Tech 3, and that's about all the little fun. There's actually, you know what?
Sense.
There's one more fun fact that I have for this, and it's just because I don't know where else I would fit it into the conversation. In 2003, a hacker discovered a way to get Linux to work on the original Xbox by using a copy of Agent Under Fire.
Yes.
And I have a fairly long pull quote from the article I read where it says, the trick involves the save/load game function in the James Bond game Agent Under Fire, which normally allows players to save a file recording their progress in the game to the Xbox's hard drive and later reload it. Habibi, which I believe was the hacker, found that by using one of the several USB storage devices recognized by the Xbox, the load game screen can also be used to load other software, including compact versions of the Linux operating system. The technique apparently exploits a buffer overflow flaw in the 007 game, a technique similarly used by online vandals to damage servers. Basically, there was a bug in the save handling, which has been found in several games, Habibi wrote in the posting. And then Michael Robertson, the founder of Linux company, founder of the Linux company Lindos, has encouraged such work as a 2-part contest, each carrying part of a $100,000 prize. Part A for the first team to run Linux on an Xbox has already been met, and the prize committee will be selecting winners. Part B sets aside $100,000 for the first to run Linux on an unmodified Xbox. And that's what this, I think, was trying to do. So there we go. Like I said, I didn't know where else to put that in there, but I found it kind of amusing that a hacker used Agent Under Fire to get Linux on an Xbox.
Wow. Goes into the grand pantheon of games that are used to mod your system.
Where's the hot coffee mod for this one? All right. Well, that is all the fun facts I have for Agent Under Fire at the top of the episode. There's a couple more other things that I can add in towards later on. But with all that said, we should get into our personal recollections for this game, or how we first experienced it. And you know what? Just because it's anyone who did not listen to my Still Bonding series, which is my Patreon movie series that I covered all 25 James Bond movies on. Luigi was on 2 of, actually, were you on more than 2, or were you just on 2? You might have been more than 2.
I think I was on for both Daltons.
You were.
Amore and the finale, or at least the final movie.
You were on for No Time to Die?
Yes.
Okay. It's been a while since we did those episodes, so I can't quite remember. I will have to look into all that. But yes, so if you want to hear more talk about the movies themselves, there's a whole series over at the $5 level on my Patreon. Of course, there's links in the show notes for that, and I'll go into more details at the end of the episode. So since Luigi, you've been on the show before, and we've talked about Bond on there a bit, so we're actually going to start off with Chris, since he will be the first time I've heard his experience with Bond and his experience with this game. So Chris, what's your experience with this game, and do you have any experience with James Bond prior to this game?
Yeah. Like every person my age, probably. If you're anywhere in between 30 and 40, you probably learned about James Bond from GoldenEye 007, the video game, not the movie. You know,
Well,
rent rentals, going to a friend's house, playing the multiplayer, just going through the campaign, trying to figure out how to beat the levels, just trying to get that glorious nut shot where you shoot the bad guy in the nuts and there's a specific death animation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, then after that, my dad found out that I liked the game and he started making me watch some of the movies. So he made me watch GoldenEye, which is probably my favorite.
It's a great
Uh,
movie.
some of the earlier ones that he watched growing up. So then after that, eventually I bought a GameCube with my own money when I was a teenager, and I saw that all of these James Bond games existed and they were all like $20 a piece. So I just picked up all of them. And I unfortunately saw somebody play Nightfire at some party and it looked really good. So I played that first. And then I was like, oh, Agent Under Fire's got to be more Nightfire. And it wasn't. And I was completely disappointed. I think I beat it. And I really wanted to replay it. Starting last year, and at the Steam Deck was loading it with games. So I'm like, I should replay this, see if it's actually bad, or if it was just me being having Nightfire been my first GameCube James Bond experience, and this not matching up. But I gotta say, I really enjoyed this more than I thought I would.
Good to hear. And honestly, I'm not surprised. Like it's I don't think it's any spoiler for me. Nightfire is my favorite James Bond game. At least we'll see what happens when this new one comes out. But Nightfire is my personal favorite. So I could totally see starting off with Nightfire and then coming back to this. And it is a step back in terms of the stuff that Nightfire added to kind of the formula. But we'll get into all that in just a moment. Luigi, throwing it over to you, your personal James Bond experience, because like I said before, my still bonding listeners may have heard it, but I don't think any of the mainline still loading listeners would have heard this. So your personal experience with James Bond, and then your personal experience with this game.
Yeah, I think I saw GoldenEye I know I saw GoldenEye in theaters. My dad took me to see it. I can't remember if we had been watching the Bond movies on cable when the whatever days of Bond were on in December. But yeah, I kind of grew up watching the movies. When GoldenEye came out, I think I had already been playing a lot of Doom clones, as we would have called them. My dad and I were into playing Wolfenstein or Doom or Rise of the Triad or Duke Nukem 3D. But definitely was all in on GoldenEye. Played it more than I ever played Perfect Dark. And then the other ones that were Tomorrow Never Dies or World's Not Enough. I think I played them once at a friend's house, but it was always well, you don't have GoldenEye. I guess we'll play this one. That's fine. But it's not, it's not Rare. It's not the same. It's an imitation of that sort of thing. And I don't remember at what point my friend got Agent Under Fire, but he picked it up. I think it was because we just didn't have a party game that was a shooter on the GameCube. I was trying to think of this the other day. What we were playing at the time was probably I think he would have gotten it a year after it came out. I don't think he got it right away. But or at least later in the year in 2002, because we played it on GameCube. And so we were probably playing Mario Kart or maybe Cell Damage. I'm trying to think of some other multiplayer standards early on the GameCube. But yeah, he picked this up, and I have always liked this better than Nightfire. Maybe it's because I played it first, but Nightfire's fun, but there's something I like more about the multiplayer in this game. and I think it's the scope of it that is just stupid, and it's like stupid in a way that is really, 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 really fun. With 4 people, the most you can really get going. But yeah, it's really dumb. I like this game a lot.
I didn't play the multiplayer a lot with this one. I think maybe I'd be curious to see how it holds up, because the reason I played more Nightfire multiplayer because it had the AI bots, or as I misunderstood, the Owl bots. I always thought it was AL.
Good old 3 owls running around.
Good old Owl. So with the
see now, I had bots in Agent Under Fire, but because I played on GameCube.
Oh, did they not have bots on the PS2? They had bots on the GameCube, but not PS2?
The GameCube and Xbox, since they had a little more time, added bots.
Oh, I played the worst version of it. I didn't know about this.
That's what you get for having a DVD player for a video game machine.
Right?
What are you talking about? Fuck you. PS2's the go. That's what you get for not having a DVD player, and I don't got anything. I don't have a comeback for that.
Yeah, Luigi and I got to have fun. You didn't.
What are you talking about? I got to play Ratchet and Clank.
I had a Sony DVD player.
The best platformer game out there. Anyway,
Ratchet and Clank's fun.
That's my favorite series. That's I will, always.
It's pretty cool.
Fight for it.
I've played 1.5 of those, and I've enjoyed the hell out of them.
They are damn fine games, which you actually might hear more of on a different podcast. My feelings on the first game on a different podcast at some point. Just a little teaser for that.
Keep an eye out, ear out.
There you go. So yes, we are for my own personal history with James Bond and Agent Under Fire. Like all of you, my first Bond game was my first Bond game, believe it or not, was the same as my first movie. It was The World Is Not Enough.
Okay.
And my hot take is that, first off, The World's Not Enough, I first saw that movie I first saw it on TV, and it was one of those things where we had a cable package that periodically would give us here's your Showtime trial or your HBO trial.
Right.
And it was Showtime. And they showed it. It was shortly after the movie. It was before Die Another Day. So this was 2001 ish, maybe 2000, a year or two after The World's Not Enough came out. And I watched it on there, and it blew my goddamn mind as a fucking I was been 12 or 13, the prime age to get into James Bond. And I just the opening of that movie where Bond is talking to some dude I don't understand why at the time, and he makes his glasses blow up, but I didn't understand that. It was his pistol was a flashbang that he pressed a button in his glasses to make the flashbang go off, and he takes out all the guards in the room, and then he's trying to interrogate somebody, and he has to escape from this bank, and the guy that's still alive, he ties around the cords of the blinds to his waist, and he uses it as a way to rappel out the window with a case full of money that you don't know why he's going after a case full of money. You find that out later in the movie, and he rappels down. I'm like, what is happening? This is the most badass thing I've ever seen in my life. And from that moment, I fell in love with James Bond and the James Bond series. And obviously watching James Bond as a boy going through puberty, very formative. I'll leave it at that. And this game with the way their depiction of women is not great in this game at all. But, as a boy, I didn't quite understand that. And I enjoyed it for other reasons when I was going through puberty.
They said that they were wanting to put Roger Moore in this.
Really?
Yeah, I heard the dev team was fighting for that.
In all honesty, I could probably
couldn't get away with it. But yes, given that informs a lot of the one-liner quips, and if you see Roger Moore as the main character in the story, the single-player story, it kind of paints it. Yeah, that makes sense.
And he honestly would have been able to pull off the one-liners a lot better than the actor they got to do it. No offense to that actor.
He is very smarmy,
Yes.
and in a Roger Moore kind of smarmy way. Like I think Moore is probably like the smarmiest Bond. So yeah, I don't know.
So then, like I said, my first experience with the games though was not the Agent of Fire. So the World Was Not Enough video game for the N64, which my hot take is that is better than GoldenEye. It's a better Bond game on the N64 than
Okay.
GoldenEye. I think it is significantly better. But that's a
That could be
conversation
true.
for a different day. And it's a good transition though into our conversation for this, because like I said already, this game was originally going to be a World Is Not Enough video game that they then just kind of changed last minute. In fact, there's news articles you can see saying of like, World Is Not Enough is been they basically kind of say canceled and reborn or something like that. And it was reborn as this. And this game it's one of the first Bond games to have. It wasn't the first, like we've talked about already. It has an original story. It has none of the likenesses or voices of the Bond actors. So like Bond is like a facsimile of Pierce Brosnan. It's not Pierce Brosnan, but it's like your
He
legally
looks-
distinct Pierce Brosnan.
Yes, he is. Brackets Pierce Brosnan.
I love that description.
To me, he looked a lot like Dietrich Bader.
A little bit. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, a little.
I could see that. I could see Dietrich Bader.
But like you can definitely tell they were trying to get the likenesses, because why else would you have R?
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Because it would line up with the movies, sure, but because you're trying to line up with the movies, that means you're trying to get John Cleese. And otherwise, like all the stuff is Q stuff. Otherwise, they would have just had a Q character if they were not trying to keep up with the movie. So yeah. And like, I think I've heard that like some of the models were just, like a lot of the stuff from The World Is Not Enough is in here. Like there's a submarine at some point in the game because like, well, we have a submarine model because we were working on.
There's a lot of submarines in this game. It's in the third mission. It's in the second to last mission. They're just drowning in submarines.
There's a lot of stuff like that. Like the main bad guy is just a reskin Renard. Like they've just smudged him. And
he's kind of like the
different.
Well, isn't the main bad guy a woman in this actually?
Yeah.
Well,
the mastermind is a woman. Yeah.
Yeah, but like the guy that you're chasing around the whole time.
Nigel Block is the character's name.
Yeah. So that guy is like just Renard. He's just Renard, but they made him look a little different.
Facial hair and some hair on his head.
So I think that's cool, and a kind of sort of Majora's Mask way of, we have a bunch of stuff, like why don't we use as much of it as we can to make a new thing. And they were already planning on making a like definitive or like better version of The World Is Not Enough with like, multiple sneaky paths and ways through it. And so they just sort of kept that design in their new game with like stealth and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? That is something they talked a lot about in the advertising for this as well. The multiple paths that you're talking about, Luigi, that is something they really, they really promoted the fact that you can approach most levels, not all levels, but most levels
for a little bit.
Yeah, for a little bit in different ways. You can either go in guns blazing, or there's stealth aspects where you can sneak through air vents and stuff like that to try to get to the objectives that you need to. And some of them do make it easier. I was watching one where like the guy did something I didn't know. I was watching a long play, where they did something I didn't know you could do. And it was able to bypass an alarm, and went, oh shit, I wish I would have known that prior. It would have made my life a lot easier in my first playthrough of it, or my I guess technically second playthrough. It's been a minute.
So I'm guessing doing all that sneaky stuff is what gets you the Bond points, not necessarily killing people in creative ways.
Not necessarily. So that, that's a good transition though, Chris. So one of the big things that they added to the formula of Bond games in this is that they added Bond moments. So it's a first person, I guess, to big picture at first, for those who have not played this. This is a first person shooter game with elements of driving sections and like rail shooter sections, but for the most part, it is a first-person shooter game. Most of the missions take place in that style, and they have moments in each mission that are called Bond moments, where essentially if you do something cool Bond like, you can, it'll give you it'll have a play and a little Bond logo appear on the screen to tell you like, hey, you found a Bond moment, to make you feel cool. You did something cool. Good job, you.
Effectively like traps spread around the map.
Yeah, like a crate
little
above
secret
some
ways
guards.
you can go.
Yep.
Now that you bring up the chime, I feel like I heard that chime more during my playthrough of this game than I have in the past like 20 years of my life.
The they overused
they love playing that.
There was I was one of the long plays I was watching. What I forget what it was. It was like I came to this video just so I could hear the Bond song play over and over and over again, because that's pretty much the majority of the soundtrack for this game is just the Bond song.
Pretty good though. I mean, the song, the soundtrack, like when it's a lot of remixes of the Bond theme, but they're very high energy. They're really good.
Yeah.
Just like listening to the drum beats on them. Yeah.
Now, before we go into more of the gameplay, I do want to at least say we should at least touch on what the story is, like what the overall story beats are, because this story is cuckoo bananas.
Yeah, it is.
In the best way, in all honesty. The game begins with James Bond, and normally I would say spoiler alert, listeners, but I'll be honest, this story isn't good enough to warrant a spoiler. Like, if
this is great.
Are concerned, I'm sorry, but we're going into the story right now.
Skip like 5-10 minutes ahead. We're going to be talking about it. I don't know. He goes all over the place, but we'll at least start off with the opening mission. The opening mission, Bond is going to a Hong Kong-based botanical research firm called Identicon Corporation, he's going there to just basically investigate them because they are a possible front for a weapons smuggling ring. And he infiltrates it and meets CIA agent Zoe Nightshade, who is a mole in there. That's actually the reason he's going in, to find out what happened to Agent Nightshade. Yes, and we fear something bad has happened to Miss Nightshade.
Exactly. And you do end up rescuing her. And it was kind of funny in the behind the scenes. There's a small little like 2.5 minute behind the scenes featurette, which doesn't give a whole lot of information, but something they're talking about, they're really proud of, is that they came up with a new Bond girl, Agent Zoe Nightshade. And I'm like, she is in it for so little.
Did you?
There is so this is a major spoiler for this. She dies in the first like 2 minutes, and then she comes back.
That's not the major spoiler. Like, you know, she die. The major spoiler is later someone in the game be like, oh yeah, she was
a
evil clone.
So that's
they accidentally shot her with that rocket. That rocket was meant for you. They probably shouldn't have used a rocket then if they were trying, because she's like supposed to like honeypot us and trick us into something.
Right. So there's two things right there. Like the first one, when the car blows up and she dies, R was standing right there next to her.
Right.
Nothing happened to him. Right.
Like she only dies because we had to have too much Bond cliche happen.
Right. And then the other thing is, when you meet the real one, she's like, the other one was a clone, I'm the real one. James Bond's like, okay. And they just continue.
No question.
Right. At that point in the story, like I'm with him. Like it makes like, oh yeah, I believe that there's only been one other clone of everyone. They're not, so yeah, sure. Let's go.
It turns out the main crux of the evil villain's plot, the evil villain of this game, is Adrian Malprave. By the way, the owner of Malprave Industries, excuse me. And by the way, great fucking villain name for a Bond. Malprave, that is a Bond ass villain name.
Malprave.
Like it's perfect.
It's better than Elliot Carver. Well, Carver, yeah, okay, maybe a little better.
So villain's plot in this is that they're basically creating clones, so that way they can clone all the world leaders and put in puppet versions that are of the clone leaders. They'll kidnap, clone the world leaders, kill the real world leaders, and put in puppets for that would do whatever Malprave wants.
Right, but we won't kill the world leaders yet.
No, we're going to have to do that by rocket launch, by putting them in the silos for the missiles.
Obviously,
as you do. If we're going to murder someone, it's got to be big and bold.
Like here at Innovative Botanicals or whatever, like we make sure it's poetic.
Very much so. And something that was funny to me about the intro for this too, like the opening mission. And that's pretty much the story. Bond stops them. That's it. You rescue the world leaders. Bond stops them. You kill Malprave. You kill her henchman, the second in command, Nigel Block.
You don't kill Malprave.
What? Sorry.
You don't kill Malprave.
Well, she kind of blows up.
You see Bond jumping out of a window, and she's like running towards the window, and the model just disappears.
Oh, okay. That's supposed to imply that she got swept up in the explosion.
You can barely see her model there, so if you didn't pay attention or you look to the side for a second, you're not going to know that she died.
Oh, she's probably dead. It's fine.
It's terrible. It's so bad.
Yeah, the evil billionaire guy who's like the red herring sort of, like you think is the main guy, gets a Terminator 2 death,
Mm-hmm.
Drops into some lava or whatever.
We really should have been paying more attention to Bond. Like all the Bond movies and games features a billionaire doing something that they shouldn't be doing. We should have paid attention.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was I find it funny. Like the opening mission when you're exploring the Identicon Corporation, the botanical research firm in Hong Kong.
Identicon. What
Identicon Botanicals.
I was thinking about it when I was preparing for this episode. Like I forgot that it's supposed to be a front for a weapons smuggling operation. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. You go to a submarine bay. Like how the fuck are they hiding that in a botanical research firm? Like how do you hide a submarine bay that's filled with multiple submarines?
Well, it's like I said, the last company had that, and they sort of moved into a space they're renting, and they're like, we might as well use it.
Right. I mean, the dock's already built.
Yeah. We should just be evil then.
We know the Zoe Nightshade that's in there that Bond's rescuing the first mission is a clone. Why is she strapped to the submarine? Like what purpose could that?
Right. Like, that was cute. I like that.
It's a very Bond moment, but it is very strange nonetheless.
We're in a Bond movie. Like that's just straight up Bond movie stuff. Like that's why the world leaders are strapped to rockets, because like it's what would Dr. Evil do?
Oh my god! It also one of the first thing, like I don't know. There's so much to talk about. I will say this first mission, I actually really
please
liked.
Keep going through the story. Like I could talk about the dumb weird twists. I don't know.
I'm trying not to go through it completely beat by beat, but basically Bond discovers in the first mission that there's 9 vials of blood samples, which contains, between the first 2 missions, it's 9 vials of blood samples, 8 of which contain the blood of world leaders.
Yeah, like oh wow,
the blood of world leaders.
One?
And the 9th one,
figure out what this 9th one is,
contains the blood of Reginald Griffin, a British diplomat serving the British embassy in Bucharest, Romania. How convenient that 8 of them belong to world leaders, which MI6 I guess has on file. We know this. Just their DNA on file.
Judi Dench voice knows this.
I'm sure every world leader shares their DNA and blood with MI6.
Right. Or MI6 is just crafty enough to get the DNA.
Somehow they sent Bond
Grant
over there.
Grant has a new prime minister. We gotta get up in there.
Bond, go over there and take his blood. What?
Just snip some hair or something, dude. Just figure it out.
But the ninth one belongs to one of their own, and it turns out, who is obsessed with protecting a room that is outside of his jurisdiction in the embassy. Bond investigates and he finds Griffin dead, and this is where you get the first indication of the twin plot, or the identical like clone plot, where which is honestly a really creepy scene when he turns the chair around and you see this dead guy with his eyes rolled in the back of their head, and it's actually kind of like scary a little bit.
It's startling. Yeah.
And then the clone comes up and you have to kill the clone. And
he's just put like you spin around and it's the same dude, but he's got a gun pointed at you. Like, okay.
So in that mission, you have a tranquilizer gun.
Yes.
And you have to pop him with like 3 tranks to put him down. So, and then they take him, right? And MI6 is like, he's a clone. So what did they do with the clone? Did they incinerate it or
clone stuff? You know,
study it for research purposes. I don't know.
I mean, I guess we already know it. They're probably just like, we know enough about clones now. We're fine.
Right? Like, I'm more interested in what MI6 did with the clone than anything else happening with the story, as funny as the story is.
You know, that is a very good point, though. What did MI6 do with the clone? That is a very good point.
He's like, help like a butler or something now at like headquarters.
So
we didn't know what else to do with him.
So then he goes to you do have to sneak out of the embassy afterwards, and once you do, but at the embassy where Reginald Griffin is, Bond finds basically a voice like a message from Reginald Block, the guy Nigel Block, sorry, not Reginald Block, Nigel Block, who's the head of Identicon, the guy who runs the botanical research firm
Nigel,
in Hong Kong.
Yes. The killer,
a very Hong Kong name, Nigel Block.
No, that's the most Hong Kong name I've ever heard. England controlled Hong Kong for like 100 years.
I mean, they didn't control it in 2001.
Yeah, but it had only been like what, 3 years?
I think
they gave it up in 98.
I don't remember when they left Hong Kong.
I think it was 98. That's what the plot of the movie Rush Hour is about.
Was it?
Yeah.
Man, it's been a while since
that old British dude wanted all of the stuff he stole.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It's been a minute since I've seen that movie. So, yeah, Bond sees a message on Griffin's computer from Block that mentions Malprave Industries based in Switzerland. Bond poses as a journalist to go there and notices that a woman he encountered at the embassy is actually the company's CEO, Adrian Malprave. So knowing that she recognizes him, he now has to escape.
He's like, that lady you walked in on, Bond? Well, turns out, yeah.
Like, I forgot about that.
She sees you.
See, I didn't put 2 and 2 together that was the same woman.
Yeah, at the beginning of the mission, they're like...
He calls him and he's like, "Oh, I met this lady. She knows who I am. I gotta leave."
Yeah,
it's like he was
hurry up.
Going through the worst date of his life.
Also, that scene is there's a lot of scenes in this game that are just unnecessary boob jiggle, or like
there was jiggle.
There's severe boob jiggle.
I was too stuck on the back shot, the shot from behind, where she just looked like a triangle that met a lower half of a body.
Triangle with a buttocks.
A triangle with just legs. Yeah.
Triangle with just legs. I mean, I guess that was sexy to them back then. I don't know.
I was disturbed.
Triangle with legs would disturb me too. So he goes to Malprave Industries. Like I said, he knows that Adrian's going to recognize him. So he plans it. He escapes, but he collects evidence during his escape from the facility. And it's one of the computer messages, also from Romania, mentions defective merchandise. And he believes that to be a code name for another character named Dr. Natalia Damascu, who's a former employee of Malprave, and it now works under protection at the British Embassy in Bucharest.
Ooh.
So you go back to Bucharest again, to the embassy you were just at, and you have to go basically try to rescue her. Only to get there, and Carla the Jackal, the infamous terrorist who kills Zoe Nightshade earlier, or the clone of Zoe Nightshade earlier in the game, is back. Carla,
Infamous. So good at her job.
I'm also reading part of this from Wikipedia, and I like that descriptor: infamous terrorist who killed Zoe Nightshade. Bond fights the terrorist and
with a stray rocket, not meant for her.
It's for someone who's who's like supposed to be this like weapons expert terrorist thing. How the fuck do you miss a shot like that? Bond was standing still. It's not like he moved out of the way at the last minute.
You know, if there's an asset standing there, just don't use a rocket.
Right? It's just so strange. I mean, they clearly don't care about their assets. Well, but okay, so you fight your way into the embassy. You take out the Jackal, and
how do you take her out?
Oh,
because there's a fun way you could take her out.
That's one of the Bond moves that you were talking about, Chris. So it's not always stealth. It can also be you can just take people out in a cool way. I took her out with the crane thing there.
Yep.
That's really satisfying.
Like, you just drop her into like it's a crane. Do you like crush her or like I can't remember?
You push her off into a vat of like lava or some shit.
Yes. Okay.
It's like propellers, and you see like her clothes just like float into the air or something. Like
I don't think it was that, but it was. She does just like disappear though. You push her right off into the ledge. I believe that one of the missions
voice line for that.
I think one of the missions to escape the embassy, though, after you do that, you get into a tank. Or no, you first drive in a car, and then you get
you get to do GoldenEye.
I will say, what do you guys... not to get too into the gameplay stuff, but I want to at least touch on it here. What do you guys think of the driving segments of this? Chris, I want to start off with you real quick, just because there are driving segments in the missions here. In fact, like the second or third mission, the one right before... or sorry, no, there's a railgun level, and after
which that's fine. It's on
after Zoe, after the Nightshade clone gets murdered by a rocket by an RPG,
you pick up your James Bond car.
You get a James Bond car, and you have to track down the other vials of blood that we're talking about. But when you escape the embassy after you're rescuing Natalia Damascu, who also gets killed by fucking the Jackal once again.
No, damn you, Jackal!
So yes,
memorable Bond villain, you.
I think she killed. Actually, no, I'm sorry. She doesn't kill Natalia. I think Natalia escapes.
Okay,
I forget. It's been a minute, but yeah. What do you? I lost the thread a little bit. We were talking about the driving missions.
So did the game.
I'm gonna be honest. I think the driving and the on rail portions were just plain stupid fun.
Yes, I'm with you on that.
I love the driving segments in these Bond games and in Everything or Nothing, and in Nightmare did have some because you drive the Vanquish, and the Vanquish is fucking awesome. I just love the driving segments in these games are just so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is.
I wish there were more. More.
Go ahead.
What? Don't you get like 2?
You get 2, and like if you do it right, you can be done with them real fast. So yeah, I totally get that.
And it's interesting because it's not like they're just like linear. They're like the tank level is linear. But like the first driving section, you have like this open world ish. Like you have like a small sandbox to drive around in, and you just have to catch this car and hit it with an EMP, and that's the objective of the level, which I think is kind of cool because it's not like it's race to get to the end of the level or get to the end of the level by a certain time or catch an enemy before they get to the end of the level. It's just kind of just wandering around this city and trying to get this guy before he escapes, but like he'll just drive around in circles but he's fast, so you have to be really smart with how you do it. It's honestly really fun.
It feels like
so
a smaller
easy
game.
to do. It's so easy to do. I don't know. I feel like the whole driving area is big, pretty decent sized.
Mm-hmm.
where you could have maybe done more than just find a vial, hit DMP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
I could see that.
you're right. It is still pretty cool. Bigger area might have been fun. More objectives before you get the friend, or before you get the big one, or the main truck or whatever. In order to like find out where it is, maybe. But yeah, the driving for the most part is fun. I think they got some of the Need for Speed people to help them with it.
They did. Yes. Thank you
Did
for
they
reminding
really?
me. Yes,
Oh,
some of the
Yeah.
Need for Speed
okay.
developers. What is it? It was one of my notes actually. The dev. No, sorry. Where was it? The driving sections were developed by EA Canada, who also made the Need for Speed
Okay.
games.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
The driving
So
sections
yeah,
are fucking
like
great.
it's cool. Yeah, it's cool. Like, more of it, please. Would be like, it feels like a smaller game almost could be made out of this.
I mean, there is
A sort of
007
cops and
Racing
robbers. Well, yeah.
from the PS1.
No, not so much. But that's also a really good idea to have a dumb like, is it Vigilante 8 style? Is it like Twisted Metal? Because
I
that's
have
what they
no
should do.
idea. I've not like I
All the
haven't
Bond
played
cars.
enough of Twisted Metal
There
or
was
Get Jeffrey on the phone. I've got an idea, Jeffrey. Okay, all the Bond cars. I know you're scraping everything, so you'll probably hear this. All the Bond cars in a Twisted Metal Vigilante 8 arcade indie game where they just all shoot each other with rockets and crazy things. There you go. There's your money.
There was a PS1 Batman game. I think it was a animated series Batman game where it was just driving. You could drive the Batmobile, Nightwing's motorcycle, or whatever, and you would go around completing missions. I think there were some linear
Ooh.
levels, but I think there were also some like open world levels. I think doing something like that for James Bond would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
Kind of like
I'm down.
the Die Hard trilogy, the third game.
Yes, not the arcade game.
I haven't even.
The arcade game is so good.
I don't
Speaking
think
of things that were reskinned.
Was the third Die Hard game reskinned?
No, the arcade was.
The arcade was okay.
Yeah, it's, Dynamite Deca got reskinned for Die Hard. I mean, you can find Dynamite Deca, and it's pretty much the same game. It's just stupid fun 3D
Okay.
brawler.
And they got to make sequels to it because they had an original name, but they set out to make get to make a Die Hard game and get the license. And I think by the time it was coming out in Japan, they hadn't got the license, or they were about to, but it was just too late. So they just only released it like that in America.
Okay. Okay. So back to Agent Under Fire. In regards to the driving sections, I agree with both of you on this, and I think what makes it interesting too is that this was the first game in the Bond series that had that like switching of gameplay styles. Because prior to this, it was all or one, all or nothing. Like very few PS1 or N64 games could really switch up the gameplay styles like this.
You did have the snow ski level in Tomorrow Never Dies, and
the World's Not Enough. Actually,
wasn't that like a snowmobile paraglider type of thing that you could?
Yes, but that was more of like a rail shooter. You couldn't really control too much of it. And it wasn't like this open world like driving segment either.
If I'm not mistaken, I think in the PS1 version you could control the thing.
It's been a minute since I've played. I don't know if I played the PS1. I know I've dabbled with the PS1. Anyway, with the driving segments though, I think it like even if it's not the first Bond game to do this, it is the one that kind of like made it work. I think switching up the gameplay styles is honestly really smart. I was talking about it on stream when I was playing it, that it brought a lot of like, I don't want to say levity levity is not the right word, but it changes it up so the game never gets stale. Yeah. And I think with FPS games, I was just gonna say, I think with FPS games, I feel like that can be the case. They can get stale if it's the same thing for too long. But this, it never, like, same with Nightfire too, but like in this, it just never really felt like it got stale. And because the actual gameplay was strong enough, like the racing segments were strong enough, it worked on all fronts. Sorry, what were you going to say, Luigi?
Well, I'd say like it helps that like the different components are also like well done, where like so like in some games it'll like, okay, now it's time for the vehicle part, and you're like, oh crap. Well, this is the one part of the game I don't like, or
it's not like the water levels in Mario or anything,
or like the entirety of Star Fox Assault. So, like it just like, oh crap, now I have to do this. Like it's like a break. Like I just want to do the flying part or whatever. Like with this, it's like, oh, all of it's kind of fun.
It
like,
all
I don't
works.
mind doing the rail stuff. I don't mind, a lot of times with rail shooters, it's like, okay, this is fine, but it's still fun.
Like out of the entire game, the rail shooter parts are what I don't want to say drags on the most, because they really don't.
I can see that.
They're the longest ones. Because everything else you can basically breeze through. Like what a stage is 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, the stages are pretty straightforward. There's a couple longer ones, but yeah, for the most part,
the last one is long, but all the other ones I felt like they went by really quickly.
I beat this game in 5 hours. Like it really was not. It was a very short replay for me. Now to continue back with the story though. After Bond rescues Natalia Damascu at the embassy, he does get like after he defeats the Jackal, and picks up a data chip, and on the chip there's something that is known as Poseidon, and it leads Bond to an oil rig in the South China Sea, which is kind of like where like this is where kind of the like. It's not the finale of the game by any stretch, but it kind of feels like this is the build up to the finale, right? Like there's a whole bunch of stuff that starts off with this level that goes on. So Bond fight, or there's a whole bunch of stuff that starts off with this level that leads to the end of the game. Bond fights his way up this oh my god, oil rig, and he gets to the top. He sees Nigel. Is it? I always keep saying that. It's Nigel. No.
Nigel.
Is it Nigel? No. It's what the fuck is his name? Is it Nigel? It is Nigel. Sorry. Yeah. I was getting his name wrong earlier, so now I'm second guessing myself.
Goodness.
He fights Nigel, and I believe you have to fight like a fucking helicopter, which is it's a crazy fight.
Yeah, you do shoot a helicopter.
You make it all the way up to the top, only to have Malprave up there, and she's like looking, all sexual and whatnot, and she jumps off into the water below. Like there's like a little pool on the oil rig, and I guess it leads to somewhere, but you don't know where yet. She jumps off, and Bond's like intrigued by this. He's like, "Oh, interesting." And then Nigel Block shows up, and he pushes Bond off, and they get into like a whole fight on the way down. And Bond literally chases Nigel Block. And the next mission is another rail shooter segment, but in like a tram car like tunnel way underground.
But why did Nigel, if that's the secret, haha, I got you, Assassin's Creed exit, why did Nigel push Bond into secret exit instead of just killing Bond or pushing him off to where he didn't fall in water?
Because there's clones in this game, and that doesn't make any sense.
He is clone. That is clone. This is true. That is the clone Nigel.
Oh yeah, I forgot that is the clone Nigel.
Which is funny because the clone Nigel talks more than the real Nigel.
Yeah, evil clone Nigel is like, a driving force of this story.
This story is fucking nuts. You take the tunnel down below, and there's a pretty amusing moment in the tram car section, like right when like Bond and him are fighting to get onto a tram car. Nigel pushes him away and gets on the tram car, and this other woman comes up behind in another tram car. Bond helps her out like a gentleman, and she's so enraptured with him. She's in a trance.
Your hair is perfect, and yet you've fallen through water.
They loved you in the Drew Carey show.
Dietrich Bader, I did not know you were James Bond. Bond helps her out, and she's so charmed by him. She smiles, watches him ride off, and then hits the alarm and goes, "Oh, that he's so handsome." She gives like a really like shitty, not shitty great. She gives like this huge smile. She's like, "Oh, James," like, as Bond goes away. And then you get the whole the underwater tram mission, which is just a rail shooter with an AK-47. It's kind of weird. You get to the underwater lab though, and this is where you have to you end up defeating I believe this is where you actually end up defeating Nigel Block.
Like, surprise, he's still alive because that was a clone. You thought you killed the real billionaire.
But now
I think the tram ride is you're supposed to be shooting her and like slowly trying to damage her or something, and then like you're like, I've got her cornered, and the final boss.
Well, remember, Malprave is the woman. Nigel Block is the henchman dude.
Right. And so the woman. I thought the woman was in the tram, or is it Nigel in the tram?
It's Nigel in the tram. The woman in the tram is just there to be like, "Oh, Bond is hot," and then hits the alarm button.
I thought we were shooting.
You just see her. I
got things mixed up.
You just see her in a cutscene. Fun fact about the cutscenes: the CGI cutscenes, the devs got help with them from Industrial Light and Magic and Pacific Data Images, which later became part of DreamWorks. So, they got some help. I mean, the cutscenes are fine. They look fine.
Yeah, all of these games look fine.
I would say that I actually like the visuals of this quite a bit, and I'll go into that more in just a moment. But the story is taking on longer than I was expecting to. We'll just go with this. You end up in an aircraft carrier by two different means. Either you pick up a verification code or not, or something like there's apparently two different ways. You can either get captured and put into the brig, or you can have a sexual encounter as the submarine automatically pilots to the aircraft carrier.
You say, "Hey, submarine, how you doing?
It's a fuck sub. Ooh. Get in the ladies on the fuck sub." The Bond is just such
James Bond successfully romances submarine.
Ooh, I've never seen a torpedo that big.
Ooh.
Oh, behave. So I'm just gonna skip to the end here. Bond eventually gets to the final like lair, and
shooty gun
shooty. You have to you do actually have to fight Block again, because I believe the clone is the person you killed in the lava in the lab, and then Block comes back and you have to fight him again after you've rescued all the world leaders before all the rockets go off.
Which are strapped to rockets.
They're not even strapped to rockets. When you go to them, they're just standing there, and there's guards standing next to them.
Well, they spawn in. Once you kill enough guards, like all of a sudden, like a world leader just kind of materializes out of nowhere. They're like, I am the Premier of France.
And you rescue them all. You fight Block, and then the Block fight's actually like it's not like outrageously challenging, but you have to. He basically just kind of hovers around from going from one corner, like one quarter of the room to the other, and you have to shoot him and then dodge his rockets, shoot him, dodge his rockets, and that's pretty much the rinse, wash, and repeat until you beat it.
Shooty.
That's actually the final boss for the in all actuality, because Malprave, you just have to get out of the building, and once you get out of the building, like the cutscene does the rest. Though I did die after I beat the boss because I couldn't figure out how to get out of the building, out of the area. So when I finally did get out, because there's a grapple shot. One of the gadgets you get there's a grapple shot, and you have to grapple up to it, and I didn't see it, so I was trying to walk around, and I just kept falling into the lava and the water, and that's how I died multiple times. I was getting pissed off until I figured out the thing. So
luckily, I had save states during that, and I kept trying to figure out how to get out because I couldn't see the grapple thing either.
Mhm.
So I figured out that you either grapple or you grapple, because if you try to jump off to the side, the game has an invisible wall that won't let you jump onto the floor while it's retracting. So you'll just fall to your death.
Mm.
It's ridiculous.
That's
This game.
frustrating.
Yeah.
So you chase after defeating Block. You chase him out of the room there. You chase him into Malpre's office where you were earlier in the game when you realize when you're at Malprave Industries in Switzerland the first time. You shoot him with a rocket launcher, which blows him out the window, and that's where you were talking about, Chris, about how like you run out and then you see Malprave kind of running behind, and then she just disappears in the smoke.
Yep.
She just. And how does Bond survive this though? Because the place is exploding. He jumps out the window too. The place that would have killed Block. Thank God, because you rescued the real Zoe Nightshade earlier on in the game.
Right.
She has a fucking Harrier. She finds one, and Bond jumps and lands on top of it somehow.
What could be more British than that?
I was laughing uncontrollably on stream. I was so surprised that just out of it's not like a helicopter that he's dangling on. It's a fucking Harrier, which I'm pretty sure is, I don't know. I feel like that's just not possible.
No. No, you're
but it's very British.
Off of it.
But it's very British. Indeed. And that's how the story ends. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you... Because the story in this is like, it's kind of like the themes are bigger than the story itself. I'm going to throw it over to both of you. We've all kind of been talking about, like, we've gone through it more beat by beat than I was honestly expecting. And we're over an hour into recording. We still haven't even talked about the gameplay. So I want to throw it over to both of you. Just your overall thoughts on the story. Now that we've kind of recapped it and talked about some of the beats that we enjoyed, what are your overall thoughts on it? Luigi, we'll start up with you.
Oh, it's bonkers. I don't really care about it, but I just think it's funny. Just like when maybe we did spend a little too long on it, but I think fine. Like when you sort of kind of point to point out the story, like, okay, this happens, so then this happens, and then this happens, so this happens. You start to sound like a crazy person.
It is an insane.
You're describing a ridiculous thing.
All of the stories in these Bond games are just bonkers.
Yeah, but this is just fun. I think it's hilarious. Sorry, there's a lot of funniness in here. I don't know.
Chris, what about you? What are your thoughts on the story?
Honestly, when I started playing the game, I was like, I don't remember anything of the story. I'm going through and I'm like, okay, this is
same
interesting. And then the clone shows up and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is happening? It almost feels like it doesn't belong in a James Bond game or a James Bond story. But then again, we have a satellite in space called the GoldenEye.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so fun fact.
The entire base of operations for the GoldenEye comes out of the fucking forest, a lake. The satellite comes out of a lake.
Both of them, located in former Soviet areas or former, okay, not Cuba. One of them's in Cuba. The other one's in
Cuba.
Former Soviet. Cuba. Hey, Jack. Hey, Jimbo.
It's funny though, like this story in all honesty, it saddens me to say this, it's really not that out of place for a Bond movie. It's just that I think one of the reasons the Bond movies have worked as long as they have, especially if you look at like late Sean Connery, the entirety of Roger Moore, a chunk of Pierce Brosnan,
most of Roger Moore,
most
Pierce
of the plots
Brosnan had the same bad guy 4 times in a row.
Not really.
It was like, evil bad guy with nuclear weapon.
I mean, that's like every Bond movie, though. Like almost like there's a lot of tropes in Bond movies that like repeat, and not just the gadgets and the Bond girls, but like even like one of the prime examples, Lewis Gilbert directed 3 James Bond movies. You Only Live Twice, The Spy Who Loved Me, and Moonraker. All three of those movies have a cold opening where some type of vehicular craft, whether it be a spaceship, a boat, or a plane of some sort, overtakes another, like a bigger version of that, overtakes it and captures it. In You Only Live Twice, it's a space capsule. In The Spy Who Loved Me, it's a boat. In Moonraker, it's not something overtakes. A rocket takes off of literally launches off the top of an airplane carrying it. And what happens is the good guys who are on board those vessels, who are kind of innocent in the whole thing, get captured. And Bond discovers it, and it ultimately ends with two armies fighting each other at the very end of the movie. It's the same plot in all three. And it's not like every Bond movie does that, but there are like these weird, ridiculous subplots. Like this one actually kind of reminds.
Is secretly just there are only 5 Bond movies, and all of the rest of them are just those parts shook up into a different movie, but they're essentially just the same movie.
Like even this plot, Chris, believe it or not, it's very reminiscent of On Her Majesty's Secret Service, where in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, the Blofeld, the villain, is trying to take out the world leaders, kind of like Manchurian Candidate style, by
with sexy
by
himbos.
hypnotizing beautiful women at an allergy institute in the Alps.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Which happens again in Moonraker, basically.
Kind of, yeah. But, he tries to repopulate. That one is he tries to repopulate the Earth.
Perfect, Adonises that are going to repopulate the Earth.
In Moonraker, it's like an Adam and Eve type of thing. The guy believes that the human race needs to be obliterated except for the most perfect people.
Yeah.
It's very Aryan of him.
It's all the same ideas. They're just, they're all just shook up a bit.
But like it's just funny that once again, like this one, it's not like beautiful women Manchurian Candidate like the world leaders. It's cloning the world leaders. They're just taking it one step
Only
further.
Only once. Everybody gets one.
It's ridiculous.
It's like Spider-Man. Everybody gets one.
Everybody gets one.
I love this story just because it's silly. Like it's not great.
Yeah.
It's not like the reality of it is
it's campy. It's dumb.
I've been thinking about this for a while. The Bond movie storylines really don't get good until later on. Like I would say there's only a handful that are like really solid storylines. Like I would say Goldfinger's pretty solid, campy but solid. Honestly, The World Was Not Enough has a really good storyline. Denise Richards aside and her acting aside, but the storyline for that movie's honestly really good. And then not all Daniel Craig, but Daniel Craig movies have a lot of good storylines as well. But like for the most part, they're all just kind of campy, and this very much feels like it fits into like it's even more heightened. It's like, what if they took Austin Powers, which honestly is if you take out the jokes, it would basically be a Bond movie anyway. And then just like upped it a little bit further. It's crazy. I enjoy the story, but it's bonkers. It's cuckoo bananas.
Yeah. In a good way.
Exactly. I mean complimentary. Right. Now I want to quick touch on the overall visuals because we've touched about some of the music and everything already. So we're going to touch about the visuals and presentation, music included and all that. Before we get into the gameplay itself, just touch on this real quick because I actually think this is a pretty solid look. It's an early PS2 game. It looks pretty good for its era. I do think I'm actually impressed with some of like the set pieces lighting choices, like specifically in the very first mission when you're going through the botanical place. There's a moment where like you're walking through and you kind of walk into like a garden area and all the lights go out, and then a bunch of enemies appear and start shooting through the plants, and you can see all the lighting effects from the bullets shooting at you.
It's really cool.
It's really cool looking. I remember playing that as a kid and being like kind of surprised by how it looked. Even like some of like the environmental stuff overall looks pretty solid. The character designs are a little bit rough around the edges. The character designs for all the women are uncomfortable.
Never mind.
Like there's lots of like there's boob jiggle, there is like everything's revealing, and like it's a Bond game. I get it, but I don't know.
Asian twins.
What? Sorry,
the Asian twins.
They're twins, right? They're just twins.
They're not clones. They got to be just twins.
Are there clone twins
And they
walking
have
around
those
somewhere doing evil clone twin
whatever
stuff?
if they're clones or twins, I'm not sure, but they wear very shiny leggings that accentuate things.
At least they didn't look like an upside down triangle. Like
That's true.
there's some that are just like some models in the game. Like, okay, sure, I see where we are, but like for the most part, it's it looks so much better than what was out 2 years prior.
Yeah.
It looked good.
I think my biggest criticism with the portrayal of the Bond girls in this is that it feels like, I know this sounds weird because, like, listen, Bond movies are not known for their portrayal of women. It's hyper sexist, misogynist. Like,
No, they're known for.
well, they're known for a specific type of portrayal, I should say.
Yes.
But even this felt just a little bit too pervy for me. I don't know.
Oh, that's why I'm saying it's solidly in Roger Moore. Like, it goes a little too far with the on the noseness of it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a perfect.
But also,
example.
I think like the aughts were very much that as well. Like it fits well in the aughts.
Yep, very much so. I don't really have much else to say. The music is solid. Excuse me. I think the visuals are overall solid. I think the environmental stuff overall is really good. But it's just, I think it looks good for what it is. And there's a couple moments that genuinely, I'm like, I really like how this looks. Also, the oil rig. I really like the visuals of the oil rig. I think that looks really good too.
Yeah.
But those are just my thoughts. Chris, what about you? What are your thoughts on the overall visuals and presentation and music and all that good stuff?
The music itself, the only thing I remember is that the music during the stages while you're playing, it's good. It doesn't stand out. I don't remember any of it except for the chime anytime you did something Bond like, and they really like to play that chime. That's like the only thing that I do remember. I feel like that first time you meet the twins and then Bond realizes that he's met this lady before. I feel like that mission, I kept hearing that chime nonstop since I started it all the way till I finished it, because somehow I managed to hit most of the Bond moments in it. So it was like constant, and it was a quick mission too. But the visuals themselves, I think they look great. I played on Steam Deck, so I upscaled it twice. It looked very good, all smoothed out. It did have frame rate issues, but that's just for some reason some games have terrible frame rate issues during videos or too much stuff happening on the Steam Deck.
Emulators are funny, especially like disc-based emulation.
Right, like Genji Dawn of the Blade will run perfectly, but for some reason, Agent Under Fire is going to have issues in different parts.
Wind Waker runs great until you get to that one cutscene, and then it just, oh god, no.
Right. But I think Josh said that this runs in the Quake engine.
Yes.
And that
3 or id Tech 3 basically.
Okay. So that explains why I kind of had issues with it when I played it as a teenager after playing Nightfire. Because you can, at least I could kind of see the whole shape of the bullet every single time you would shoot.
Yes.
And it's like this giant monkey finger of a bullet shooting through the air. I didn't really notice it this time, but I think everything just looks great. The lighting looks great. I think it's a very solid, very impressive piece of technology showcase for the PlayStation 2.
Especially considering it's a 2001 game. Like, this is like early PS2. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Luigi, what about you? Any final thoughts for you on the overall visuals and presentation?
On the overall visuals and presentation, yeah, I don't know. It's a fine looking game. It's a fine early, cycle, early generation game. I think it it didn't really have like the kind of staying power. If you're playing, I think a lot of people playing like Nightfire, or especially people on the GameCube, why Nightfire on GameCube is so big is because we didn't have like Halo. So, or, you know, another kind of thing, I think same thing with PlayStation 2 is like, you don't have like the premier like shooter game, but this was fine. You know, it was as good, if not better than GoldenEye or whatever, as like a single player game. I can't remember, how did the unlocks in this work? I wasn't paying attention.
For the
I was
multiplayer,
just
you
playing
mean?
through it. Like
I
you
think
like
so.
no, for the single player, like you're unlocking stuff in the story mode,
So you have to
same
hit a
way like as
certain
GoldenEye.
amount of you have to hit a certain amount of bond points, and that will get you the score you need to be, I think, bronze, silver, gold, whatever. I
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then there's different
Mhm.
difficulties, and those things give you different things or something. Same way
Yeah.
with GoldenEye. So yeah, like, you know, I'm into that. I'm into, you know, the old sort of run based console FPS. Get your time down. Uh, you know, make it a little bit harder. You know, because I played GoldenEye like a stealth game. There are levels where I'm trying to move as quietly as possible and like engage with one or two guys at a time. And so I kind of like the fact that they give you that option to be more stealthy. Because I'm sort of doing that anyway. It's sort of, it's how I play like Resident Evil 4. Like I'm just like, okay, one or two at a time. let's just.
Now that you mention
Okay, here
that,
we go.
they do give you the option of doing alternate fire on most weapons, and the one for the PPK is just a silencer.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you
So
know, because sometimes that's how I want to play through the facility,
right.
just silenced.
I mean, it is I feel like it's a very good game to speed run and get times down. Now that you mention it,
Yeah. Yeah, it's made from that ilk. Like it is a quick game. Like it gives you a time. It's timing you. Like any game that's timing you, especially back then. That's great. We have a clock built in.
Mhm. Well, I think that's a good way to transition into our gameplay discussion for this, because we've already kind of touched on a lot of elements of the gameplay throughout, you know, the story and the
Mm-hmm.
visuals and everything. So I mean, we already, you know, touched on the highlights of it, but I think what's cool about this game, and what I want to start off this last section of the episode in, or with, excuse me, is some of the things that they really did that I thought was like cool and unique. I can't say it's the first to ever do it. I'm not going to be that, you know, I haven't played every goddamn game. I don't know what did what first, but what,
I might.
but what at least seems unique to me is like this was the first game that I played that tried to make me feel like Bond. It didn't necessarily always achieve it, but like
Okay.
I think they did it better in, you know, the later Bond games, but at least with this one, by the introduction of the Bond moments, I thought that was probably the smartest thing they could have done, because it encourages you to, like you were saying, go like the game gives you multiple reasons and encourages you in multiple ways to go back and replay levels, whether it's to get a better time, to get a better score, or to find all the Bond moments, which are really fun and interesting to like see what they are. It's exciting. Like it's exciting to see like, oh, what secret am I missing? And it's not like
And
a secret necessarily like, oh, here's a secret room. It's like a secret
yeah,
action
and
almost,
they're like,
which is kind of cool.
there are quips. You know, we have voice.
Mm-hmm.
Bond is quipping after you do these Bond moments. Like often, you know, he's got a story. You know, there'll be a VO line or something.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. And I think there's so much variety with it, whether it's the stealth elements, which I don't always think work all that well. I don't think what I've noticed with a lot of these Bond games, when they try to make you do stealth, generally it is so hard to actually do stealth in this. And I'm noticing that with a lot of games that aren't strictly just stealth based, but include stealth levels. Like I'm playing Perfect Dark for a later episode of the podcast, and the missions where they try to do stealth, it's fucking impossible. Like they start you unarmed, so I guess so it doesn't draw suspicion, and then a guy sees you and immediately starts shooting at you. I'm like, well, what's the point of
Yeah.
stealth then if I'm going to walk by someone who's just going to shoot at me anyway the moment they see me? So like it kind of reminds me a little bit of that in this, where it's done better than that, but it's done better than what I've seen so far in Perfect Dark. Obviously it's a newer game, so they've had time to learn from different things. But in this, a lot of times when they try stealth, it doesn't always work. The only time I've seen stealth work in this game is when you go through the air vents and you like use your laser to kind of break off. For some reason, every air vent has a padlock in this world. Every single one, just in case.
They all don't. A lot of them give you the little Bond sting, like, "Oh, you did Bond stuff.
You got a Bond move." I'm like, how?
Yeah.
I didn't do anything. I just lasered a padlock.
Pulled out my flip phone.
It's like using the grappling hook. Anything that you do with your James Bond tools gives you a Bond moment.
It is kind of weird that it does that. But I will say, like, also with the fact of the gadgets, like they actually utilize the gadgets well in this. Whether it's the grapple, whether it's the laser, whether it's a decryptor, like there's a number of different things. But I think, like, if you're trying to make a game that feels like an old school Bond movie, this is not your Daniel Craig Bond movie, which obviously Daniel Craig was not Bond at the time this was out.
This movie,
I would even argue
into Austin Powers, not runs away from it like the Daniel Craig movies.
I would even argue this is like closer to what is it? Like even Pierce Brosnan, I don't think is as gadget heavy as this is. Like this feels as gadget heavy as a Roger Moore. Like when you mention it, Luigi, that like Roger Moore, like they wanted him as like the inspiration for it, like, or the likeness, to use his likeness for it. The more I see it, I wouldn't have put that together, but like the gadgets are all very Roger Moore-esque. The quips are all very Roger Moore-esque. Like the way the plot is structured is all very Roger Moore-esque. And I mean that as a compliment. Roger Moore has grown to be like my favorite Bond. So I enjoy all of that for this reason. And they do a great job of marrying all these different gameplay mechanics. The stealth is probably the one they do most poorly at, but like the driving segments, the turret segments, the gadgets, like all the multiple paths you can take to complete different objectives, like it feels very Bond. And then in tying that all in with the Bond moments, man, it just fucking works. It's not my favorite Bond game, but like replaying it, I was pleasantly surprised at how just like streamlined, like very trim almost. Like there's not a lot of fat on this game.
It's a well-made, console shooter, like first person single player campaign. Yeah, it's well made. It's very well made.
Comparing it to Perfect Dark, I would rather play this game over Perfect Dark any day.
As a mini spoiler for my upcoming Perfect Dark episode that I'm currently playing through the game for, I'm in agreement.
Yeah, didn't have Perfect Dark, so only played it at like a few overnights because I guess I went to school with people who played a lot of Perfect Dark, but me and my friends were always just GoldenEye people. Which I think it's funny that like
GoldenEye's
you were saying
better game.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's less complicated. There's cooler stuff in Perfect Dark, but it's funny that you say like that there's a stealth section that like you just can't, like, you almost can't stealth through, where I feel like forced stealth or planned stealth sections like that oftentimes end up not being great. Whereas like, with the facility, or there are other levels in GoldenEye where like, I don't know if it's necessarily supposed to be that way, but you can do it sneaky. And, I often chose to, because it was a lot of fun to do that.
Mm-hmm. The stealthy parts in this are actually like overall solid enough. Like it, I don't know. And usually when you do it, like you were saying before, Chris, or you both probably said it, like you get, the Bond moments and everything. Like there's just so much variety in this. And I think in a weird sense, I kind of miss that in games, man. Like I was saying it all when I was streaming. I miss back in the day where like you would have multi-genre games. And this, like, on the NES, there are some games like Bayou Billy is a multi-genre game. I covered that on the podcast last year.
Love you, Bayou Billy.
Where it doesn't really work all that well, But in this, like the multi-genre stuff really fits in. Like they all fit in thematically, obviously with how Bond movies and the Bond franchise works, but also just like they're all executed really well. They all work really well. And I kind of miss games I kind of miss this era of FPS where it's like we're going to throw multiple styles of gameplay at you. It's not going to be just a first person shooter. Like it's going to be a vehicle section. You're going to have vehicle sections. You're going to have turret sections. You're going to have stealth sections. Like I miss this era of FPS where like they were willing to throw more ideas at the wall. Then now everything is like, nope, this is a straight FPS or this is a straight sandbox. And like, I'll be curious to see what the new Bond game is like, but I don't know. I'm hopeful that they'll have like a couple car segments. From the trailers I've seen, it seems like there's at least a cutscene with the car. So I don't know if that's going to be. I don't know if that's indicative.
Someone around in a sweet car.
I think that what is it? IO, the developer for that new Bond game. I think that they are the perfect team to figure out.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like I can't see anybody.
I mean, they've been
else.
making it already.
Yeah, I can't see anybody else doing James Bond right.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. I talked about it when I did my episode on the Indiana Jones game, the new one from Machine Games, and I was talking about how like the Machine Games Indiana Jones game and IO's Bond game got announced around the same time. I'm pretty sure even at the same E3. And I just remember being like, oh shit, like Machine Games, they did the newer Wolfenstein games, and those fucking rule. I don't know how they're going to translate that to Indiana Jones, but like that sounds great. And then IO Interactive, okay, I don't know much about them. And then I knew they did Hitman, and then I played Hitman 2016, and another semi-spoiler alert for my episode on that later this month. It fucking rules, man. It's great. I can't wait to talk about it. It's just
James Bond.
It is. And
it's just like, oh, cool. They've already been making James Bond. So, like, keep making. Yeah, let him do it. Let him do it.
So I have trouble with the Hitman games because the whole here is a whole open area. Here's your target. Figure it out kind of gameplay. I'm not a huge fan of it. But being that it is James Bond, I don't think that if they do have that kind of level in the game, that it's going to be a lot of them. I could deal with one or two. Maybe
I will say, like the thing that IO has done well with at least. So I haven't played all the Hitman games. I've only played the remake trilogy, or not the remake, the newer trilogy, I should say. It's not a remake; it's a brand new trilogy. Anyway, is that. Yeah, because I'm kind of with you, Chris. I don't like games that kind of throw you into a sandbox and just say, "Okay, figure it out."
Like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. After so many hours, I just got to the point where I just want to finish this. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
So for me, with Tears of the Kingdom and and Hitman, excuse me, I think they give you enough guidance where it doesn't feel that way, at least to me. But I'm still with you in that I don't want the new Bond game just to be a clone of the Hitman games, because I think the Hitman games gets the tone of Bond pretty well overall. It's a little they get the tone of Bond pretty well. Like it's clearly not Bond, but like you really see like this could be easily converted into a Bond game. I do hope that it's not as silly as this, though. I do want it to be at least a little serious. Like this game is so campy. Like Agent Under Fire is just so campy. Yeah. Like I've been having a long play going in the background, and I'm at the level where you're going back to the embassy in Bucharest, and you're going into like a safe house where Bond walks in when he thinks a woman is showering, and it's just Q in a hologram. Like he has a holographic shower.
The latest in holographic technology, 007.
I hate her so much.
That might catch your eye.
I hate him so much.
Yeah, I think it's R, not Q or whatever.
He's so annoying.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the logistics of that, because he sets up a holographic, like a hologram shower, not holographic, a hologram shower. How is that really effective in the field? Maybe in the most minor of circumstances, but let's not worry
this
about
is just R&D, brother.
let's not worry about the
let him
efficacy of
work.
it. Let
him cook.
After that, the shower isn't even just a hologram; it's an elevator. It moves up into the ceiling for Bond to take a secret passage behind an elevator that is also a shower. That is
That's
also
the
a
latest
hologram.
in elevator technology. See, the hologram technology is just on the door. We're testing two things at once.
The problem is that
the Queen loves efficiency.
R is a little trifling bitch, and that's why James Bond destroys all of his toys and tools that he gives him to complete the mission.
Right.
I will say, like, John Cleese has become a little bit of a disappointment in recent years, but even before that, watching his performances he's just not the same as Desmond Llewellyn, man. He just can't do it. Like,
I don't think he cares.
No, I think he cares. I just don't think he fits. I think it was it was a good idea on paper, but in execution,
he's kind of bumbling.
Yeah, it's a little bit too. In a weird sense, he's too smarmy. He's like the smarmy Q. He's the smarmy Desmond Llewellyn. And Desmond Llewellyn was so sincere. Like, when he was mad at Bond, like, he was mad. He wasn't trying to constantly one-up him on quips, which is what it feels like R does in John Cleese does. And it's the same in this. Like, R or Q or whoever it is supposed to be in this one, it's just constantly trying to one-up Bond on quips, and it just comes off as a nuisance.
I got you stupid man whore. Sorry, maybe cut that out.
No, we're keeping that. That's good. Bond is a man whore.
So let's for a second. How about, can we shift over to multiplayer?
Yeah, by all means go into it, because I don't have experience with this actually.
Yeah, I didn't even touch that at all.
I did not have it. So by all means, Luigi, go into it.
See, I like the multiplayer in this. It is it's small. It like lets you do like gravity controls. It lets you really like mess with a lot of the options and the physics and things. Did let you have some bots, but we'd play with like two or four people a lot of the time. And the best part about it is the hook shot, the little grappling hook.
Dude, I saw gameplay videos of that, and I thought that was the coolest looking thing. Go into that.
Like, if you're playing with bots, like, the bots aren't really going to be doing it unless maybe you do it too. But a lot of the arenas are small. And so if you turn on the grappling hook, you can like grapple to any surface pretty much. I can't remember if there's a length restriction on it, but it will pull you to it, and you can still shoot and fire and everything while that's happening. If you hold the button down, you'll just stay attached to the wall, and you can just plant yourself up there and like attack people from up high. But like certain levels, like Castle, which is just one big round like open cylinder, and then just a spiral staircase all the way up around that. In the middle of that, where people like grapple hooking like across it, like tring, 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 like just people going all over the place. Another one of my favorites is I think it's just called Town. There's a cathedral at like one end of it, but then there are just rooftops, and so like I watched someone play a little like against bots in the streets, and I was like, this is kind of quaint. Like, certainly I would get down into the streets to pick up upgrades and stuff, but like then I got my ass back to the roof where it was safe and like where the real fight was happening. If you're running around the streets with my friends, you have the low ground, Anakin. You're going to get like wiped out because people are up top, like looking down on you. I spent an absurd amount of time playing multiplayer in this game while listening to Frank Sinatra. Just for whatever reason, my friend had just found his dad's Sinatra CDs, and like that was what we listened to most of the time playing this game.
I love that so much
and just murdering everything.
It's what is it? It's funny, like the world is not enough. The N64 game, my buddy Justin and I would listen to the Beatles while playing the multiplayer on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like things that are just like they don't really feel like they belong for
That'd
that.
been cool.
I love the Frank Sinatra angle of it. Do you remember any specific songs that felt antithetical to what was happening? Like we would listen to the Beatles' "Love Me Do" every time we would blow someone up with a rocket launcher.
Yeah, I Want to Hold Your Hand or something like that and blow someone up. Yeah, I can't think of anything. Like it was just a very specific vibe of like, I don't know, Rat Pack sort of. Like, I don't think it was on purpose. Like, we're going to listen to this because it feels like this. I think my friend had just discovered the Sinatra CDs and was into it. Like, we listened to, his dad had like Alan Sherman records, like multiple Alan Sherman records. The Hello Mother, Hello Father guy.
Hello Mother, Hello Father.
Yeah, so like I, grew up like playing video games and listening to those songs.
To like crooner music. That's wild.
Yeah, and like funny crooner music and stuff, or like old parody, like big band parody music, and just weird crooner music, and
that's really funny.
Yeah,
I'm saying this now, Luigi, as someone I know you go to Games Done Quick as fairly often. I don't know if you went this year or not.
I'm going in the summer.
Eventually, I'm going to have to make the trek out to one of the Games Done Quick. We will meet up in person, and we will play Agent Under Fire multiplayer while listening to Frank Sinatra.
Okay.
I want to remake this. It sounds amazing.
We can probably do that in like the practice room. Like I think if you just bring the game disc, they'll just give you all the equipment, and you can probably get a bunch of people to play. But yeah, like it's the grappling hook is what really made this game special. What made the multiplayer special. I think, like I said, the scope of it for me, they're much smaller, which I like the GoldenEye. I like the big ones as the levels as much as the small levels. But for some reason, I don't know. Nightfire was always just like. I never got into it, and like when I would come back home to the neighborhood and play with friends, or like the little brothers in the neighborhood, when they got old enough, played a lot of Nightfire, and I like the snow level's great, it's great, but there's just something like arena nonsense craziness about Agent Under Fire that I just appreciate. And felt like I had way more fun, like even when I got my ass kicked.
Yeah.
Still had a blast. And whereas like Nightfire, I always felt like I was just getting my ass kicked by someone who was on like, a ski lift a mile away because they knew what they were doing. And I was just like, oh shit, I wasn't paying attention.
Nightfire feels very Halo-ish for sure.
Yeah, okay. Like maybe a little bit. But then I would have rather played Halo. So probably
I would have rather played Nightfire.
I forgot, Chris. You're not a Halo fan.
Oh,
yeah.
Nothing better than a Halo 1 LAN party.
All right, so let's get into final thoughts on this for the game. I will go. You know what? No, I will go middle. So one of you guys can have the final say on it. Chris, we're going to start off with you though. Final thoughts on Agent Under Fire. This was actually, like you're saying, this is a replay for you. So I'm excited to see how it fared up for you overall with your final thoughts.
So I think it was the last game I beat last year. Let me just take a quick look. 2025. Yeah. So, some of my thoughts that I wrote down. I really like this game. I've been meaning to replay it for a long time, and now that I'm doing an episode, I'm still loading about the game. I might as well try and get through the whole thing. It is insanely short, but very fun. a lot more fun than I remember. The semi-auto aim makes it feel like a boomer shooter
A little bit, yeah.
whenever there's a lot of enemies, at the same time. Uh, the nonsense story is just plain goofy and fun. I wrote that I hate Bond's face because he looks like Dietrich Bader as much as I love him as an actor. But everything is just pretty damn fun. Honestly, I think that the Bond trilogy on well, it's technically a quadrilogy with the what's it called, From Russia with Love.
Yeah, the Sean Connery one.
Mhm.
I think they are very solid James Bond games. After replaying this one, I would have said that this is the weakest one. But having played Everything or Nothing last year, I would say that Everything or Nothing might be the weakest one due to how unbalanced it feels at times. Um, I'll have to play Nightfire and figure out a whole ranking for the whole thing, but it was a great time. It's a lot of fun. Um, and like Luigi said, this would be a great game just to pop in and try to get faster scores. The stages are
Yeah.
so short that they could be my wife's getting ready. I got 5 minutes to kill. Let me just play a stage type of game.
Pop the Steam. The magic of the Steam Deck.
Right. It's great. It's a really fun game. I wish it ran a little bit better on Steam Deck, but eventually it will. You can play a whole lot worse on PlayStation 2 or GameCube or Steam Deck or wherever you're playing it.
I mean, I would have originally fought you over the PS2 comments, but now that I realize the multiplayer isn't as good, I can't. I don't have a leg to stand on.
Yeah, that multiplayer sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to eventually give it a try. For my own final thoughts, though, I enjoyed this game more than I remembered it. I remember liking it okay when I first played it when I was a kid. Loved Nightfire, and then so I was always comparing this to Nightfire, but replaying it for this, it was really fun to revisit. I was happy to replay it. It's just a solid game, man. Like, it, to me, this is the definition of like a solid 7 out of 10 game, right? Like, it's nothing like groundbreaking, nothing amazing, but like I had a good time with it. I enjoyed it for what it was. There's a lot of moments that, could be a lot better, but for the most part, man, it's just a good game, and it's a 7 out of 10. Like, and that's not an insult. Like, it's a really good, like, B tier game that I would like more games like this to exist, they don't have to be these monumental, groundbreaking experiences, just solid, fun games that you would like. Yeah, I'd replay that in a couple of years just to like kind of putz around in the missions again. Like, it's a fun game. So I'm happy I replayed it. I'm happy I finally am covering some Bond stuff on the podcast. Now, I forgot to bring this up at the top of the episode. I forgot I had covered this game a long time ago on the podcast, but it was like, how can I put this? Like, there's an era of the podcast, I would say, like pre 2020, where like I was still trying to figure out how to podcast and kind of like figuring out the reins of it. And I might have covered this game during my summer of PS2 back in 2020, but either way, like, this is a much more in-depth dive. Like, I didn't replay the game for that episode. I replayed it for this. So I wanted to cover it again just to mainly do it justice. But none of the other games in Road to First Light I've covered before in the show. So this will be this is the only kind of technical repeat one, but I do think this is a pretty. I'm happy with how this episode has turned out. So I'm grateful I got to replay the game and redo my episode for it. But I'm going to throw it over to you, Luigi, for your final say on Agent Under Fire.
Now, the thing that needs to be said is that GoldenEye is also a 7 out of 10 game. It's just what we had, you know. It's really what we had. Like, there were other games.
As right as you are, it stings a little still.
It does.
Yeah, you know, but it's better than Turok. And it was it was good. It was a good game. It served us well. And this is, very similar to that. I think we had other things at this point, but it still feels like GoldenEye. I think they were trying to make something that was similar, had that vibe. The base, the what do you call it? The default control scheme is you're using the C stick to strafe left and right, like the C buttons in GoldenEye's basic control scheme. A lot of the multiplayer options are very similar, and the like the way that the levels are set up, with the time goals and everything. Yeah, so I think they made a very solid little game, and it's fine. And I think and like I said, I prefer the multiplayer to be this fast, chaotic nonsense, as opposed to big, grand nonsense. I don't know.
Chaotic nonsense is a great way to describe this game. Just in general, like
Yeah,
multiplayer or
yeah.
otherwise, just a great way to describe this game. And side note,
I think they set out. I think they did what they set out to do. They made a very good one of these.
absolutely, it's just it's a solid overall, just a fun game. And side note, I did double check this. My original episode for this came out in 2019.
007 check.
I did 007 check. And actually, when this comes out, oh my God, it'll be like 7 years ago, close to it. Hold on. When did it come out originally? Holy, oh my God. Hold on.
You planned this.
No, I swear to, oh, it's so close. So February 24th, 2019 is when it came out. This is coming out January 25th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, January 25th, 2026.
That's close enough.
That is wild.
It's 007.
That's wild, man. Like, that's crazy.
Is there a weird German man standing behind you right now?
I know, right? Yes, Mr. Koval.
Mr. Stamper.
Herr Stamper. Herr Stamper. I gotta watch that movie again. Anyway, well, that will do it for this episode of Still Loading. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for listening to the first episode of Road to First Light. Next week's episode will be on Nightfire, and if it's anything like this one, it's going to be longer because Nightfire. I had a lot to say about this, and I'm going to have a lot to say about Nightfire, and I think my guests will as well. But first off, I want to thank both my guests once again. Chris, Luigi, thank you so much for joining me on this. This was a almost 2-hour conversation. I don't know what it's going to be after editing, but it was almost a 2-hour conversation on Agent Under Fire. So thank you both for giving me your time for this and hanging out. This was a lot of fun. So we're going to do plugs and shout outs now. We'll start off with you, Luigi. Where can the good people find you online, if you are to be found online, of course, and what would you like to promote?
Search your podcast app for Luigi's Apartment in various ways, now that like it just scrapes all of the transcripts that it auto creates for all the things that we make.
Mm-hmm.
And you might be able to find episodes of me talking about things on various shows. And I'm working on a Zelda show right now, but it's not quite ready yet. So find me I'm doing a bunch of guest episodes the next couple months. So yeah, I'll be around.
All right. Chris, where can the good people find you online if you're to be found online? And what would you like to promote?
So you can find me in 2 places. You can find me in a novel console. So everywhere you get your podcasts, we have officially revived the show. It will be back. Well, it's back in a bi-monthly format. So we'll do an episode at the beginning of the month and one probably halfway through. At least one of them is going to have my wife. The other one's probably just going to be me and a guest talking about a game. And then consoles and stuff. I am buying Nintendo stuff, PlayStation stuff, old stuff, new stuff, stuff that you don't want, stuff that you want. I pay 70% of price charting, and then I sell everything on Whatnot, starting at $1. At least once a month we're going to be doing a live show, having at least 100 items, all starting at $1. At least for February show, which is going to be at the end of the month, we do have a copy of Dragon Quest VIII for the Nintendo 3DS which is around
Ooh.
$85, starting at $1. So a bunch of other great stuff. It's going to be there all starting. Oh, we're going to have a Switch starting at $1 too, which we had one last month. A Switch version 2, brand new in box, started at $1. That was a whole lot of fun. So, yeah.
All right. I will include links in the show notes to everyone's stuff over there. So please go check that out if you want an easy way to find all their work. As for myself, you can follow me on Blue Sky at stillloadingpodcast.com, on Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, and Threads at stillloadingpod. I'm not really active on Threads or Facebook, but you can find me on there. They're pretty much just repeats of Instagram anyway. On Twitch, I stream whenever the hell I'm able to. Lately, I've been streaming a little bit more, but comes and goes in waves. I'll stream like every day for a week and then not stream for like a week and a half or a month. So just follow me over there and you'll know when I go live. Though every Tuesday I'm over with my buddy Andrew on the Experience Point for Talk Tuesday, which is a weekly talk show where him and I chit chat about just whatever we've experienced throughout the week. So you can find me on.
I watch that sometimes.
You do. You pop in sometimes. And Andrew and I always somehow get sidetracked on weird, random things when people show up. It's a good time. It's a fun.
It's a talk show.
You all should go check it out. If you like this podcast and you want to help me out and support me, you can do so in a couple of ways. You can give it a 5-star rating or review on whichever podcasting app you use. It does help more people find the show, and it pleases the algorithm gods, I think. You can also support the show over on Patreon, patreon.com/stillloadingpod. For as little as $1 a month, you get all the episodes a little bit earlier with better audio quality, as well as access to patron voting rights, which help guide the direction of the show. I was talking about Perfect Dark earlier. That is a patron-chosen game. So if you would also like to help me pick games, you can vote over on. You can join the Patreon for $1 and help me either play games you think I'll hate or games you think I love. It's up to you. Like I said, though, that's only for $1 a month. For $3 a month, you get everything from the previous year, plus patron shoutouts, which you heard at the beginning of this episode. For $4 a month, you get all of that, plus 2 mini bonus episodes every single month, and which there's over 100 of now, so there's lots of content there. And for $5 a month, you get everything, all the previous years, plus access to my monthly movie podcast, which right now is called Still Muppeting. It's the only Muppet movie podcast where me and a bunch of friends play the music, light the lights, and we talk about the Muppets on Still Muppeting tonight. And that is all over there on the Patreon at the $5 level. And in the backlog of the $5 level, show Luigi has been on numerous times that we talked about. Still Bonding, all 25 James Bond movies covered over there in great depth and detail.
I'm on there for like at least 16 hours of I don't know, 12 to 16
Luigi
hours.
Luigi was
of
on
James
the
Bond.
longest episode, 2 of the longest episodes, both Timothy Dalton, The Living Daylights, and License to Kill. License to Kill was the longest at 4.5 hours. So there is a lot of content, y'all. There's so much over there.
There's a lot
all
to
of the
talk
$5
about Cuba.
But you can find all of that over at patreon.com/stillloadingpod. And that's it. That is all the time I have for you on this episode of Still Loading. Thank you all so much for listening. Chris and Luigi, thank you once again for joining me.
Anytime.
I'm a clone.
And with all that said, listeners, I will see you all next time.